You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. We are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. Happy Tuesday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with the Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. Download the Games app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Also, if you have not yet signed up for Subtext, the link is in the description below. It's joinsubtext.com/LockedOnGators. 2 weeks free, $5 a month after that. Get all the insight first. We're flight tracking. We're doing everything we can over there because it's crazy off-season time. But the portal opened yesterday officially. And although grad transfers have been able to be contacted and all that fun stuff, there are 3 players that we're going to talk about today who really are where we see the Florida Gators traction so far. We're going to start with Joey Slackman, defensive lineman from Pitt. And Joey Slackman is one where I was interested to see if Florida would continue pursuing him after Cam Jackson came back, even though, again, we talked about this the other day. Cam is obviously that nose tackle. Joey Slackman would probably play more of a 3 technique here, but it's just investing in defensive line. But with Chris McClellan hitting the transfer portal, absolutely going to have those snaps available on the inside. We also know that as of yesterday, Joey Slackman has said that he is going to be in Gainesville this coming weekend, which we know this weekend's supposed to be a big weekend for Florida Gators, just in terms of having a lot of visits on campus there. This is the kind of player that Florida should be looking at in the transfer portal. This is the kind of player that Billy Napier should be looking at in the transfer portal. Not looking at a Power 5 guy who wasn't going to get playing time, which, I mean, you can look at the 2023 class and you see quite a few of those. I mean, hell, let's go back to 2022 and see if that's also a trend because, yeah, if you look at one of the, I don't know, the guy who was our QB2, then QB3 this year, Jack Miller III, was not going to play at Ohio State. Jalen Kimber was not going to play at Georgia, hasn't been great since he got here. You look at last year, Damian George probably wasn't going to play at Alabama, hasn't been great here. You look at last year, RJ Moten lost his job towards the end of the season with Michigan last year. This past year was not playing a ton. It's happened quite a bit, and I'm not talking about guys like Deuce Spurlock, who, when he committed to Florida, it was always, oh, he's going to be someone that plays in the future, not really expecting much from him this year. This is the kind of player that Billy Napier and the Florida Gators need to pursue. Not some Power 5 reserve, a guy that played out of the SEC, that's looking to play in the best conference in football. Obviously playing at Penn, playing in the Ivy League, where Joey Slackman was all Ivy League. Obviously, that's not exactly SEC caliber football. And instead, Joey Slackman is now looking to make the step up. Also, like I said, I forgot if I've mentioned this already, but he's got offers from Miami, Michigan, Missouri, Washington, North Carolina. He's got offers from all over, according to his Twitter at least. He's got offers from all over. He's looking to play Power 5 football. And he's a Power 5 football player. So I think that Florida, this is the kind of guy you look for. The Cam Jackson, where Cam Jackson last year, all conference player at Memphis, but it was like, all right, time to step up to the SEC. When Osiris Torrance followed Billy Napier, it was group of 5, Time to step up into the SEC and prove that I can do it again. And that's been the approach that that is the approach that Florida should be taking, because we're seeing Power 5 guys hit the portal. Even Power 5 starters are hitting the portal. But we're seeing these group of 5 guys go into the portal with the clear intent of, I'm going for 1, maybe 2 years. I'm going to show out as much as I can at the next level. And then I'm going to go to the NFL, because if I put out my film from Penn, if I put out my film from Memphis, if I put out my film from Louisiana, the question will always be, can he do it against NFL competition? Because he was just beating up group of 5 players. So you come to the SEC, you go to the Big Ten, and you prove, all right, he can do it at multiple levels. That's what Joey Slackman is trying to do. That's what Florida needs to do. That's what Florida needs to look at. And it does look like they're kind of taking a bit of that approach this year. The guy that we're going to talk about in the next segment is Power 5 football player, but going to the SEC this time. But looking at Joey Slackman, 49 pressures over the past 2 seasons, 59 stops for a gain of 3 or less. That's insane. Joey Slackman's done that over the past 2 years, and this year he played 3 snaps at fullback. He's a dude, all right? I don't know genuinely what is going to convince Joey Slackman to play somewhere. I thought initially, before Sean Spencer got fired, I thought, all right, well, Sean Spencer was at Penn State. Joey Slackman played for Penn. Maybe they can bond over Pennsylvania. Maybe Sean Spencer can get some extra insight there. Obviously, that's not the case, as Florida still has not yet announced their defensive line hires for this upcoming season. So we're still looking at that just being completely empty. Jeray Hawkins just tweeted the Gators logo at 12:17 p.m., which is fun, I guess, or 12:17 a.m. Jesus, which is fun, I guess. But yeah, Joey Slackman, I don't know what Florida can do to convince him, but you got to do whatever you can to beef up this defensive line. Again, especially after losing Chris McClellan, he's someone who can bounce around that line, and you don't have that anymore in Gainesville there. And I mean, roster attrition has started. It is going to continue for a bit. We're still waiting on guys to declare for the NFL draft, hit the transfer portal, whatever it might be. Things are, I will say, yesterday, there was no bad news, really. Like no big bad news came for the Florida Gators. And that felt refreshing to just not have a panic attack a day, or to not have a freak out moment from the entire fan base, which would never happen, right? Before we talk about another Florida Gators transfer portal target, it's time to talk to you guys about game time, because I mean the Florida Gators at this point with basketball, women's basketball, constantly games to attend. If you're just hanging out one day and it's a Wednesday or a Saturday and you're just like, hey, you know what? Let's go catch a game tonight. You can do that. Game Time is the place for last minute ticket deals. The Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. So if you find tickets in the same section and row for less, Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. Snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. That's code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off with Game Time. So download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to podcasts. And as of yesterday, the Florida Gators offered Will Lee, the third cornerback out of Kansas State. Someone that, Billy, this is another good decision. You're looking at a Power 5 starter looking to take the next step up. That's really what it comes down to. You're looking at a Power 5 player that wants to go maybe to the SEC specifically, but he's been a dog. Ball skills for days. He's someone that started as a wide receiver, moved to corner, and spent this year with Kansas State. Prior to that, he was a JUCO kid. I mean, like this is someone that also was recruited by Louisiana after Billy Napier left there, but but he's someone that is clearly going to be highly sought after in this transfer portal cycle. We'll say just no other way to put it right. 6'3", 185 pounds. St. Louis, Missouri kid, so he's not Florida ties. I doubt that's going to time down, but Power 5 starter looking to take the next step up. 6'3", and not only is like, he's got like long arms, even for someone who's 6'3". I can only find a couple of game film, a couple of tapes of him, but like when you watch a player and you see how insanely long their arms are, it's kind of impressive when you could see it from far away. Like watching like Tariq Woolen, like when you watched him, you just saw his length was insane. Willie the third is the same thing, not the same player, but those insanely long arms. Kansas State, I mean, watching him reminds you of like Julius Brents from last year. And Willie is obviously he's an athlete for sure. Used to play receiver, great ball skills there. One thing that I think he does really well. Again, this is watching. There were 2 or 3 games. It was notable how physical he was at the line of scrimmage, and I feel like for a lot of receivers turned corner, we tend to see that. You look at like the good ones. You look at Richard Sherman. You look at Tariq Woolen. You look at those kinds of guys, and it's like, all right, well, they're going from receiver to corner. They're impressively physical at the line of scrimmage, and Willie the third. I don't know what running backs have done to him, but like he's active as hell in the run game. 48 tackles, just 4 missed tackles at Kansas. 17 tackles for a gain of 3 or less. Like he's making these tackles at the line of scrimmage. Could only find a couple of games on him, like I mentioned. Dude played lights freaking out against Missouri. Which I don't know now that I'm thinking about it. I'm like, I don't know if that was a personal game for him. Because again, St. Louis, Missouri kid. Maybe that game meant something special to him. If you want to come to Gainesville and you want to do that against Missouri as well, I'm not going to stop you from doing it at all. But this is another one of those hires where you look at what Billy Napier should be doing, and this is what you should be doing. This is who you should be pursuing, especially when you look at the cornerback room and you see who's really played snaps for Florida this past season in that room, who's returning, who's impressed you in that time. First off, that one's not going to be many. But you look at corner, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 corners played 5 games or more. Sharif Denson and Jaden Hill are 2 of those. So guess what? They're nickels. They're not the outside. Jalen Kimber's 1. Jason Marshall's another. Jakeem Jackson there. Devin Moore there. Okay. Jakeem Jackson played 10 snaps per game. Devin Moore played more. Jason Marshall and Jalen Kimber were the starters. But you look at who's coming back. Jason Marshall Jr.'s future is still up in the air. Jalen Kimber, I don't know what he's going to do. I don't know if he'd be eligible to be a grad transfer. He did senior day, so I'm assuming that. And I feel like not even like this isn't even me trying to take a shot at Kimber or Marshall. This feels like one of those times where the fan base has been so toxic towards you, where whether you're slated to start or a backup or whatever it might be, I wouldn't blame you if you left. Again, because it seems like the fan base has been so toxic towards both of them, where can you blame them if they don't want to be here? Because I'd be hard pressed to go, oh yeah, they're welcome back with open arms, because that's just not how things have been presented at this point, right? Now, Will Lee could step in on the outside. You got Jakeem Jackson's one of those long athletes. Devin Moore, when he's healthy, is good. Dijon Johnson. There's guys coming in or that are already here that are stepping up. But you look at who played last year, cornerback play was not good. You look at forcing turnovers, they did not do that well. You look at making tackles and being physical, they did not do that well. Will Lee seems like the perfect guy to slot. I don't think he'll be a shutdown corner by any mean, but if you can get someone in that can start early, or not even, let's lower the bar from start early and just play early. You're looking at Willie like he's the perfect guy that could do that. Be a tone setter on the outside. Should immediately find playing time. Even if Jason Marshall, Jalen Kimber, Devin Moore, and Jakeem Jackson are all back, Willie the third would find playing time in this secondary. Simple as that. He's gonna make splash plays. Gonna get beat a couple times. He's a bit aggressive. Like I said, former receiver. Former receivers are gonna see the ball go up and go, "Oh, I can make a play on that," and try to do that. Or they're going to see the quarterback pump fake or look like they're getting ready to throw, and they're going to bite on it. Hey, here's my stance. If you're going to get beat every now and then, at least also make a big play every now and then, which can't say for any of the outside guys really for the Florida Gators last year. So Willie, no visits set yet, is going to try to set one up. Got offered late last night. Got offered a ton yesterday. He was tweeting a ton of his offers. I don't know if they all just came flooding in at once the portal officially opened or what it was, but ton of offers he was tweeting about. But then now there's one more player to talk about, and it's a wide receiver now. Where again, I get it. We like the youth, but we'll talk about that in a second. Before we talk about that, today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by LinkedIn Jobs. Whether you're hiring for your small business, you want to have as many top tier candidates as possible to interview. That's why you have to check out LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn Jobs has the tools to help you find the right professionals for your team faster and for free. And LinkedIn isn't just another job board. LinkedIn is a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals, which makes it the best place to hire. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. So easy, in fact. 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours. LinkedIn knows that small businesses are wearing so many hats and might not have the time or resources to hire, can't get, I don't know, a $1.5 million check for NIL purposes. Thankfully, with LinkedIn, the process is intuitive, quick, and easy, and they even just launched a feature that helps you write job descriptions, making the process even easier and quicker. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free reviews in the podcast. Now it's time to talk about Louisiana Tech wide receiver Cyrus Allen. No offer has been made for Cyrus. We're just going further away from visit scheduled, offer but no visit, or I guess visit and offer and no visit, no offer, no visit set. But Cyrus Allen is planning a visit. I would assume the reason he hasn't been offered yet is because there's quite a few big names at receiver in the portal. The Raymond Contrells, Evan Stewart. Yeah, quite a few guys that are in the portal at receiver. Florida's probably, I think, going to take one, maybe two if you get someone at the upper echelon tier there. I don't think Cyrus Allen is that. But again, we're looking at confirmed contact with the Florida Gators in the portal. That's Cyrus Allen at receiver. And again, I don't know if that visit's going to be this weekend. I kind of feel like it shouldn't be this weekend when you have so many like big names that you're trying to bring in. Cyrus Allen's probably not one that you're prioritizing. He has a visit. Actually, he has a visit set to Vandy this weekend, I believe he said. So no, Cyrus Allen won't be there this weekend. Again, they can also visit in the middle of the week too. But this is again someone that Billy Napier and this coaching staff should be looking at in the transfer portal. A starter, Louisiana Tech, looking to step up. And I don't care if it gets redundant at all. A starter that's looking to step into the SEC and compete, that's what we're looking for. Whether it's Joey Slackman from Penn, Ivy League up, whether it's Will Lee from Kansas State, Big 12 to SEC, Cyrus Allen going from Louisiana Tech to Florida, making the step up is what we're looking for. At 6 foot tall, 177 pounds. This is the Napier build at receiver. When we had Dan Mullen as the head coach of the Florida Gators, it was the trees. It was Justin Shorter. It was Xavier Henderson. It was Dejon Reynolds. It was the big, tall receivers, the 6'3s, the 6'4s that were just big, could kind of move straight at a decent speed, win jump balls, could run curls because that's what you had to run a ton of. And that was it. We had the trees out wide. Billy Napier, his mold that he looks for, his build, he's looking for, he's not necessarily looking for short, but he's looking for if you're fast, if you're shifty, and if you're versatile. That's kind of it. He's not looking for the trees. He's not like, oh, you need a big catch radius. He's like, no, we'll get the ball to you short and let you run. We'll get the ball to you wherever we get it to you and let you run after that. Cyrus Allen, a Billy Napier build. I think one thing where Cyrus Allen differentiates from a lot of guys that size, 6'1", 177, is generally thought of as a slot receiver. He's played almost exclusively out wide this past year for Louisiana Tech. It's where he did most of his damage. That's where he lined up a lot. And I think I look at that and I'm like, all right, well, that's like not your Ricky Pearsall replacement, but that's kind of that similar spot of can line up out wide. You can put him in the slot. Home run hitter at receiver, can work across the middle, can run that cross, can be this screen man, jet touch man, whatever you want to call it, jet sweep, can do all that and just be reliable there. I would say that I'd be very interested to see how Billy Napier would use Cyrus Allen because while I think he can be the jet touch pass man, the jet sweep man, whatever it is, the huge majority of his usage at Louisiana Tech has been vertical. He's been a pure home run hitter. In fact, let me find the average depth of target for him at Louisiana Tech, where in 2023, we'll only use this year. 2023, Cyrus Allen's average depth of target was 15.2 yards downfield. 15.2 yards downfield. If you watch the Florida Gators this year, you know that there are not going to be many players in that same realm. Again, things are different. At Louisiana Tech, weaker, or not even generally, weaker conference, weaker competition that you're playing against. You're going to have things more spread out. But you look at Florida's average depth of target, they had two guys with 15 yards or more, and they played a combined 7 games. Aiden Mizell in 2 games, Caleb Douglas in 5 games. Everyone else was 15 yards or less. This is not a vertical offense. So I'd be interested to see, and this is a conversation that we've had about Aiden Mizell. This is a conversation that we've had about Caleb Douglas. This is a conversation that we've had about a lot of people. Their skill set clearly works better as the vertical game. Will Billy Napier invest in the offensive line in this transfer portal as well and try to get Graham Mertz more time to try to take those shots downfield? I don't know. But again, I look at Cyrus Allen as, first off, he's someone who's generally young. He's got a couple years of eligibility remaining. Put him on the field, let him stretch vertically, let him run the post, let him run the crosser, and also open up his game. I think Cyrus Allen is someone who could actually benefit from being used the way that Billy Napier tends to use receivers, where I'm not trying to knock the coaching at Louisiana Tech, but I feel like I feel like Cyrus Allen could have benefited from being more of a jet touch pass man, jet sweep man, reverse end around, whatever it is. He had a few carries at Louisiana Tech. I think it was 6 in his career, 2 years. But you can open things up for him and kind of expand that way. Where we'll see where it goes. Again, Cyrus Allen is not someone that I would expect to be high on the priority list, but he's still someone that has a role that you can look for in Florida. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast. We'll be back tomorrow talking more probably transfer portal, maybe high school recruiting again. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with Whole Nine Sports, Giants Country, NFL 33. And I'll see you all tomorrow.